Okay, let's toggle the visibility of these dialogues using Alpine. This is probably the most common use case for Alpine, so let's go ahead and do it. So I'll start with this one here. And I already have Alpine installed because it comes with the Breeze scaffolding. So if you look at package.json, you'll see it installed here. And app.js, you'll see it being initialized here. You can also use the CDN if you want to do it that way, which is usually what I prefer, but since it's already installed, we don't have to do anything. Okay, so let's go back to our index blade. And this one right here should be the one showing on the page. So if I do hidden, it should hide this one. Okay, so let's work on this one. Let's put it back. And the first step is to find your component and then add some state to it. So in this case, it's going to be this button along with the dialog. So you have to find a root div or a root element that houses all of these. So we can put it here on the button, or we can put it on the div. I'll put it on the div here, doesn't matter. So we can do xData, which is our state, equals an object, and whatever state we need. In this case, we just need to hold the visibility. So is open, let's say false by default. Now we want to listen for the click event, so that would be on the button itself. So let me just reindent this, and we can do x on click, or we can use the short form and do at click equals, and then just set the state to whatever you want. So in our case, we can set it to true or toggle it like this. Okay, and now we can use the show directive on the actual thing we want to show and hide. So in our case, it's this unordered list. So let's do x show equals is open, and that should do the trick. So now it's hidden by default, but if I click this, it should toggle it on or off. Okay. Now one of my favorite things about Alpines is the small little additions it adds that makes your life easier. For example, if you want to click away, you want this to hide as well. And we can do that using the at click. So anytime you click away from this unordered list, in our case, we want to hide it. So is open equals false. So now when we click away from it, it hides. Now if I refresh this page, you'll see it appear for a second there. So to get rid of that, we can use the xcloak directive, and that should hide it after we add some CSS. So let's just say xcloak, and we just have to add some CSS here. So let's do this, and let's add this to our app CSS. And let's just put it on the top up here. Okay. And let's save and make sure to npm run dev. And now when I refresh, you shouldn't see that anymore. Okay, and it's gone. It still works. Yep. We can also hide it with the escape key if you want to do that. So let's do that. Back here. So we can do, let's put it underneath here, at key down. We want to listen for the escape key. We want it to be global on the window. So we can do dot window, and we can do the same thing. So is open equals false. So now we can hit escape to hide this. There we go, cool. And probably my favorite feature of Alpine is its transitions. Makes it that simple. So instead of just x show, we can tack on some transitions here. Dot transition. And you can even set to the origin. In this case, I want to start from the top left. Dot top, dot left. And you can even set a time on this. So 500 milliseconds, so you can see it. Refresh. And there it is. How cool is that? And how simple is that? Actually, no, I did the duration incorrectly. You have to add the duration keyword. That's why it seemed pretty quick. So what you saw there was the default transition time, which is what I usually use, but let's just see the 500 milliseconds work. There we go, it's much slower now. Okay. But like I said, I'm okay with the default, so we can remove that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just have to add these to the rest of these components. For example, on the idea page, we have to add it to all of these. So here, 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 and here. So let's do one more together. I'm just going to copy and paste this. So this will be on the unordered list, or the thing we're trying to show and hide. So let's go to idea, or sorry, I called it show.blade. So what am I trying to show and hide? The set status. So that would be this thing right here, I believe. Is it this one? Yes, it should be this one. Let's hide it to make sure. Okay, so let's add that here. So let me just re-indent this. And let's add all of those alpine directives here. Let's grab the button. So add click. Let's add that to the button here. So that would be this button. Let's put it right here. And we just have to define some state. So that will go on any parent div. So I'll just put it on this div. We can go here too on the button, but we'll just put it here. Okay, let's see if this works. There we go. Looks good. And clicking off of it works, and pressing escape works. So I'm going to add the same thing for all of these dialogues here. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've added it here, obviously here and here, and also one here. So I didn't add it on these because eventually we'll split this up into its own component. So yeah, this looks like a good place to make a commit. So let's git add, or what episode is this? Episode 7. Git commit, episode 7, dialog visibility with alpine.